Hello and welcome to my video essay discussing why I think ultra-processed food is so addictive and the role this plays in its overconsumption. There are three factors involved in this situation: us, the addicts; it, the drug; and them, the dealers. Let's talk about us. Like all other animals, at the most basal level, we are highly efficient, calorie-consuming reproductive machines. Without diving into hardcore biology theory, we can all agree that evolution has shaped human physiology and psychology in a way that allows us to obtain, utilize, and store as much chemical energy as possible. James Neal's thrifty gene hypothesis posits that traits that helped our ancestors survive in food-scarce environments have become detrimental to humans living in the modern world. Moving on from our physiological adaptations, let's think about how this historical food scarcity has shaped human psychology. I recently heard an interesting term featured in a medically assisted weight loss advertisement: food noise. Food noise refers to the continuous and intrusive thoughts about food, eating, and what and when to eat. A powerful and relentless food drive was probably an excellent trait to possess back when we lived as hunter-gatherers, because this would have meant you were constantly on the lookout for rare, nutritious plants and had the motivation to track a herd of deer for miles, keeping you well fed and alive. Evolutionary pressures of food scarcity have programmed us to be constantly seeking our next meal. Because of this, I don't think it would be a stretch to suggest that the majority of humans are naturally susceptible to becoming addicted to overeating. Addiction is an incredibly complex topic by itself, so let's simplify it and consider its role in food seeking. Acknowledge that the consumption of food is inherently rewarding. This reward is mediated by neurotransmitters such as dopamine. This dopamine reward system is known to play a central role in addictive behaviors. With the consumption of food being such a rewarding activity, it becomes quite clear how a compulsive relationship with eating can develop. What actually is UPF? Chris van Tulleken defines ultra-processed foods as foods that are industrially processed, often containing ingredients you wouldn't find in a home kitchen. He also states that they are designed to be highly palatable and drive consumption. He emphasizes that the problem isn't necessarily the nutritional content of UPF, but rather the way they are processed and marketed to increase consumption. Next, I'm going to explain a few terms that are often used in discussions about UPF. Hyperpalatable refers to food that is engineered to taste so good that it becomes difficult to stop eating it, driving overconsumption. Energy density means the energy per 100 grams of a given food. UPF often has a very high energy density. Mouthfeel refers to the way an item of food or drink feels in the mouth as distinct from its taste. Look at how many different qualities we assess subconsciously when we have food in our mouths. Repeatability is a term that I created to describe how important of an aspect experience consistency is in UPF's addictive nature. UPF is the exact same every time. Industrial food processing does a huge amount of good for society. It ensures food safety, allows for the fortification and enrichment of certain foods, reduces food waste, tailors to specific needs like being gluten-free, and can preserve nutritional quality. However, all this science, money and time that has been put into food processing has given food companies the knowledge and ability to produce knowingly addictive UPF cheaply and conveniently. Manufacturers use additives to change aspects of their food. These changes include prolonging shelf life, preventing microbial growth, reducing production costs. But additives can also be used to alter taste, flavor, texture, and color, which can make the food more palatable. Here are some examples of additives that improve palatability. MSG and disodium 5-ribonucleotides. These work by intensifying the umami taste, making food more palatable and flavorful. A paragraph from ultra-processed people below describing how versatile modified starches are used in food to alter texture, appearance, and lower cost. Driven by their desire for profit, UPF manufacturers have developed this food that is unnaturally rewarding to eat. This leads to increased consumption, which means more money for them. According to the authors of this paper, the food industry uses well-established food formulas, i.e. particular combinations of fat, sugar, sodium, and carbohydrates that increase the food's palatability, and consumption levels due to their activation of the brain's reward systems. So let's think, how is food made to be hyperpalatable? The answer is, it is purposely altered in ways that appeal to our evolutionary food-seeking instincts. These instincts mean that we desire food that is high in energy, nutritious, and easy to digest. UPF appeals to this desire for energy by being low in water to maximize calorie density, high in sugar, which is easily utilized energy, and high in fat, which is usually very energy dense. Artificial sweeteners mimic a high sugar content, and additives are used to artificially thicken liquid mimicking a high fat content. UPF appeals to our need for nutrients by being salty, high in fat because many vitamins are found in and require fat to be properly absorbed, and uses many additives such as MSG to mimic high protein, fat, salt content. UPF is often very soft and easy to chew, and is often chemically modified to dissolve more easily, making swallowing easier. It is usually low in fiber and bitter compounds, which indicate plant matter that is difficult to digest. Here are some other ways that UPF drives overconsumption. A huge factor in drug addiction is the rate at which the drug is delivered. The same is thought to apply to calories, with the rate of energy consumption being correlated with how addictive a food becomes. An energy-dense food that is soft can lead to rapid intake of calories. This really applies to liquid calories. Think a chewy steak versus a milkshake, which is more addictive? Overconsumption can be driven by sensory appeal as well. Variation in texture of certain foods can make consumption more enjoyable. A perfectly gummy sweet with a satisfying crunch of a crisp. Addition of certain food additives such as menthol, capsaicin, or malic acid can make a food cooling, spicy, or sour, respectively. Our brains crave consistency. Real food often varies in quality, freshness, taste, texture, colour, smell, etc. But a UPF product is less like a food and more like an experience that can be repeated over and over again, exactly the same as the time before, contributing to its addictive potential. To conclude, the hyperpalatability of UPF and the hijacking of human food-seeking instincts are important factors in its overconsumption. This manipulation comes in several forms and targets many aspects of food desirability to make UPF difficult to resist and easy to overconsume. UPF manufacturers take full advantage of this to make their money. Look at these slogans. Trust me, they know what they're doing. My name is Brendan Mulvaney. Thank you for listening.